Hey, how you doing? This is the review video for groups and organizations. Know the definition of a group. Two or more people interact with each other. A group. Durkheim talks about group mentality, belongingness, and so forth. Primary group, small, personal, and do over time. That's a primary group. Family, friends, a couple. Define who they are. That's my wife, that's my children, those are my children, not that's my wife, those are my children, and so forth. Secondary group, goal-oriented, large, impersonal. Weak emotional ties, superficial, secondary group. A lot of time a classroom is considered a secondary group because once the term ends, everybody goes their own way. Group think, support each other, unity. Everybody gets along in decision-making, support the leader of the group, embarrass the dissenters. When I have a night class, sometimes when somebody asks a question at the end of class, people get upset with that person. You know, why are you prolonging class? We agreed, no questions, nobody raised their hand. Group polarization, extreme risky behavior. I wouldn't do that alone. A lot of times when the decision has to be made that's tough, they look to others to make the decision. The president of the college or university won't fire the coach, but the board of directors will. Group polarization. Determinate task. Only one way to get the job done. Only one way to bring down Apollo 13 safely. Indeterminate task. Many ways to accomplish a task. Many ways to renovate a kitchen or landscape a front yard. In-groups have intense loyalty, respect, allegiance. In-groups, sense of belongingness. Whatever group you're in, that's considered the in-group. Out-groups, the competition, others, different colleges, different teams. Reference groups, you use someone in that group as a point of reference to get in that group, okay? For example, my daughter wanted to be a model. She would watch Tyra Banks runway models and use them as a reference point to get in that group. A dyad, size and group, size, the effect of size on groups. 2, dyad is 2, intense interaction, least stable. Triad is 3. Remember, the bigger the group, the more stability. The bigger the group, the more stability. Okay? Takes the pressure off the individuals. Conformity, know the Solomon Asch experiment, their willingness to go along. In 1952, Solomon Asch did a study. He showed a group of people a card with the lines to match. And he had 7 accomplices who agreed which line would match. For example, they say, this line equals this line. Well, people would go up to the car and say, this line equals this line. I'm the 8th person. I don't know what's going on. I say this line equals this line because everybody else said that, even though I know this line equals A, the same distance, okay? Show the power of peer pressure. Think about senior skip day and peer pressure in high school and so forth. It's called the Asch experiment. Showed how peer pressure to influence behavior. The Milgram experiment, Stanley Milgram studied obedience to perceived authority. Okay, he wanted to know why people obeyed authority when sometimes authority is not ideal or correct. He did a study with a machine that where you pull the lever, it shocked the person, or the person think they were being shocked, but they really weren't. And people would do this over and over and over again, even though they know they may be hurting the person based on the person in charge. Okay? So instead of being submissive, you obey authority, even though authority may be wrong, but since they're in charge, they know what they're doing, and you go with that modality. Social facilitation, the positive influence of others, motivation, facilitation, okay? Influence of others increases the level of arousal. So when you compete in a game, you play better or give more effort than if you play by yourself. Increases competition and performance. Social loafing, the tendency to expend less effort when in a group mentality. A lot of times you see group projects where there's a loafer and somebody not doing the work and so forth, but still wants the points or the grade. Okay, you see this in tug of war too, where people on a rope tug of war. The person in the middle is really not pulling, but everybody else. It's called social loafing. Know the difference between these 3 organizations. Coercive, you join by force. like sign up for drafted into the military. A utilitarian joiner gains something like a degree or a diploma, and volunteers for personal satisfaction. Max Weber suggested the ideal bureaucracy. Just know that he came up with the ideal bureaucracy that had all those elements there. You don't need to know 1 through 6, but know he came up with this concept. Bureaucracies should look something like this. And the problems is called the iron law of oligarchy. The leaders have their own agenda at the top. Even though it might be ideal, they have their own idea of what should be done. And the Peter Principle suggests a cycle of job performance and promotion. You're promoted to a level in which you're incompetent. So it's called the Peter Principle. You move up the ladder in the company or the corporation, even though you may or may not be qualified for the job. And that's it for groups and organizations. Thank you and have a great day.